Hello dear friends, I extend my utmost regards and thanks to May 18 Memorial Foundation for inviting me to deliver a message on behalf of the suffering people of Afghanistan. Your show of solidarity and support to us is inspiring and highly appreciated. Afghanistan is in a very critical time. From one side, COVID-19 viruses awfully impacts the life of our poor people. But from another end, after around 2 decades of war, destruction and massacres of hundreds of thousands of civilians, the Trump administration signed a fake so-called peace agreement with the Taliban, according to which Taliban will no more attack US forces. However, Taliban cruelties against Afghan people continues. Only a few days ago, Taliban shot dead 5 ordinary workers of Afghanistan's central bank in western Herat province. Taliban carried out over 2,000 attacks on Afghan security forces and civilian targets, killing dozens. Therefore, the so-called peace which the White House is talking about is just a big lie to deceive the US public in coming presidential elections and tell them that Trump finally fulfilled one of his promises to end the longest war of US history. However, this brutal war is far from over because a sinister dealing with a savage terrorist group armed and supported by foreign intelligence agencies will never bring peace. The COVID-19 pandemic has changed the course of history. The very first outcome is pushing hundreds of millions to extreme poverty and destitution. In Afghanistan, despite call of the government for quarantine is staying at home, for millions means dying of starvation, as majority of Afghans earn a little on daily basis to survive. They still have to go out in search of earning a living. In the past few days, a number of cases were reported from those who could not feed their children and had no hope but to commit suicide. The COVID-19 pandemic once again reminds us how much fragile is the world system, that a virus can halt everything. The capitalist system and neoliberalism imposed on poor nations in the past few decades has made life miserable for billions of people. A very few people have their grip on all resources, and their ego for capital has pushed our planet towards barbarism, destruction, destitution, and environmental disasters. As a result, a large number of displaced people are risking their lives in search of a human life, and a gross majority has little to eat. This system is unacceptable, cruel, and disastrous. The toiling people of the world must unite to put an end to this inhuman and unjust system. The distribution of resources among humankind should be just, regardless of race, religion, sex, ethnicity, etc. Our planet has enough resources to provide a proper life to everyone. But colonialism and exploitation are two major viruses more dangerous than coronavirus, which need to be uprooted. Only then justice, human rights, progress, prosperity, and fight against dangerous national disasters will turn successful results. Everyone knows now that what Martin Luther King said 50 years ago remains true. The current US system is the biggest purveyor of violence and terrorism in history. In these hard times of fighting COVID-19, the richest and mightiest country of the world, the USA government again showed its inhuman face. Trump administration is not properly helping the needy people in its soil. Expels thousands of asylum seekers, cuts aid to World Health Organization, confiscates shipments of face masks headed to Germany, etc. In the meantime, the world is watching how a small and poor country like Cuba, despite half-century blockade, is sending medical teams and supplies to tens of nations to combat COVID-19. We all need to learn from people of Cuba and regard it as an iconic example of solidarity and cooperation among nations. While the current tragedy around the world is rising unemployment and poverty in alarming rate, all progressive forces should work towards uniting their masses for a decisive fight against capitalist system. I agree with Alan Rai that historically pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. So it is time to work for a new and better world of justice. The fight against coronavirus should be orchestrated with a decisive fight against the root causes, which has made our beautiful planet so miserable that humanity is unable to curb such disease. The current arms race among big powers and their proxy wars in Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Ukraine, Afghanistan, Sudan, Libya, etc. triggers the danger of a third world war, which will have unimaginable catastrophes for the earth. The big powers, led by the Pentagon, are investing on terrorist and medieval-minded groups such as Taliban, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Abu Sayyaf, Boko Haram, etc. for advancing their strategic interests. But their acts of terror are not confined to poor people of above-mentioned nations, but expanding to the cities of Western countries, as we witness many such coward acts in European cities over the past few years. Stopping the savage war and brutalities and establishment of lasting peace is the moral responsibility of every conscious citizen of the world. Today, moral champions of human rights and justice like Julian Assange, Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden, and others are under pressure and being tortured. In the era of horror and beastliness, they are shining faces of human. So the world conscious need to join hands in supporting them and following their glorious examples. Once again, heartfelt thanks for your solidarity and support. Long live freedom, democracy, and social justice. Thank you.